clips with the tissue, try to forget you. I ain't got nothing against you. We human, we all got issues, but I'm tired of being tired. That part of me done died. I see it, then I don't act like I'm blind. I'm confident it won't be one of mine. I know emotions come with lies, so I tell the truth all the time. Ain't got no sympathy for no. I admit that I'm rich and I'm lit. Jumping up on stages, I get 200 occasion, bro. Ain't really the game up. We made shut they trap down. They see how I made it, I'm the reason they won't rap now. See me out in traffic, make a hater pull his hat down. Biggie's OG salute me, a stylist can't even style me. The rappers follow me, get me on hopping out Lamborghinis. The Yankees turn in my city, they try me, I get it cracked.
This is the Talking Sports Podcast, episode number 8, and I'm your host, Peter DiBiasi, alongside Eddie Amadeo. Today, we have a very special guest joining the show, Luwane Pipkins from Providence College, former Providence College point guard. Luwane helped lead Providence to a 19-12 record overall and a school record 12 Big East wins, which also included 5 wins over ranked opponents. He helped lead Providence to a second-half surge that saw them getting ready to make a deep run in the Big East tournament and the NCAA tournament, averaging 15 points per game in the months of February and March, hitting countless clutch shots. Everybody remembers the Villanova game, and helping take this team to a whole new level.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us, Luwane. We really appreciate it. This is our second interview we've had on our channel, and many of our viewers are actually Providence College students, so they all watched you play this year and are really looking forward to this. So just a note to some of our viewers, actually I'm getting windows put in my room right now, so I can't have the usual background that I do. So today we got me and my dad's workbench, so that should be interesting today. But so may as well get right into the questions. So Luwane, you played 3 years at UMass and then your 4th year at Providence, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so what exactly motivated you to transfer to Providence College? Was there anything going on at UMass that made you want to transfer, or was it just you wanted to go play at maybe like a more competitive, better school, as Providence College is in the Big East? So what was the school of thought?
I just think I gave UMass everything I had. I was there for 4 years, but played 3, and I felt like I accomplished everything I could. And once graduation came around, I felt that it was time for me to move on. And once I put my name in the transfer portal, Providence jumped right on it. Coach Cooley and came to see me probably, I think, the next day. Came and visited me the next day, and I went on the visit the day after that. So, I mean, it was a quick transaction. I don't like waiting too much for the recruitment process. So once I visited, I fell in love with Firetown, and I made my decision on the spot.
Love it. Was it definitely worth it?
Oh yeah, it was definitely worth it. The beginning of the year was kind of up and down, but, the last half of the season, it was worth it. I had a ball, and I would love to come back for some games.
Nice.
Okay, so Luwane, this is kind of a little bit of a follow-up question to that. So, like you said, when you decided to come play at Providence College, and you just said it was kind of a short – you made your decision really quickly. Were there any other schools that were interested in you or that you were interested in before making your final decision?
Off the top, I can remember Gonzaga, Kansas hit me, Texas Tech, Loyola, obviously, Chicago, DePaul. That's the few I can remember off the top. It was a few more others, a couple others, but those are the ones I remember off the top.
Yeah, those are some like Kansas and Texas Tech and Gonzaga. Gonzaga in the Final Four almost every year.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
So, so you had no interest in playing for like Kansas and Gonzaga because Providence is a big time basketball school. We're just much.
I didn't mind playing for those teams, but I mean, it was all about where I felt more comfortable, and Providence made me feel like I was at home, just like UMass did when I was a sophomore in high school. I committed to UMass kind of early. So, like, it was the same kind of experience with Providence, and I didn't have to think twice about it, and I just made my decision.
Nice. So, Luwane, I got to ask this question, as you know, and as our viewers know who have attended or do attend Providence College. Every year, usually, beginning of October, we have kind of a hype concert known as Late Night Madness. This year we had John Legend and A Boogie come and perform for us. And, of course, they introduced both the men's and the women's basketball teams. So they announce your name. You're running through the tunnel. Ed Cooley's there to greet you. Your teammates there to greet you. What was that like?
Oh man, it was different. UMass, we didn't have that type of thing, and just being a part of that atmosphere, just being in the dunk with all those people, it felt like a real life Division I college basketball school program. And just to have those guys have my back, just to have Cooley have my back like they did, it was a blessing, man. I had a ball, and it was such a great time to just experience that type of atmosphere.
Awesome.
Okay, so this is kind of a similar question to what Eddie just asked. So it's your first game as a Providence Friar. You step onto the court at the Dunkin Center, and you're playing against Sacred Heart, like you know. So walk us through that. Like, what were you feeling at that moment? Were you nervous, a little jittery? What were your emotions playing your first home game and actually first official game as a Providence Friar?
To be honest, I didn't think I thought I was gonna be way more nervous than I was. But once the game got going, I wasn't that nervous. I just had to settle in and just play my game and just be who I was out there to be, you know. And then once the game started rolling, I felt more comfortable, and that took toll.
Nice. So, Luwane, your hometown is Chicago, Illinois, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's January 4th, 2020. You're returning to your hometown of Chicago to play in an away game against DePaul. What were those feelings that were flowing through your body at the time? Was it more so like a revenge game going back to your hometown, or was it more so like, I'm going back to my hometown, I'm going to show to them, you know, what I've accomplished?
Yeah, it definitely was like just to prove myself back home because of the Northwestern game. As you know, we fluked that game. That game was bad for us, so and we got upset. But just to redeem myself going into DePaul, I knew I had to put on a show for the fans. And most importantly, we had to get the win. So, I mean, just playing in front of my family, my friends in Chicago again, it felt like an old school high school game against one of my old rivals, Charlie Moore. And, I mean, it was a great game, man. I had a ball. I had so much fun playing that game. But the important thing was we got the win, and that's it.
I love it. So much hysteria.
Okay, so over the years, the Dunkin' Donuts Center has been one of the most toughest places to play, not just in the Big East, but in all of college basketball. So what was like playing in front of such great crowds, for example, the home game against Villanova, Marquette, and Seton Hall?
Oh, man, can't forget Xavier. Yeah, just playing in that place, man, I don't think no one wants to play in that place. Just because it's the fans our bench and being to it, and everyone just being into the game. And once we go on a run, it's like you have no choice but to call a timeout or to fold. You know, it's either or. And it's so cold in there. You know, you can't get used to the coldness. But just playing those games in front of those fans, man, it made me feel like I was really like a part of Firetown for 4 years. You know, they made me feel at home, and they was all just the fans. Period. The fans had our back every game. And the best thing I liked about the fans is when we was playing bad, they would let you know that we were playing bad. Like they won't sugarcoat anything, they won't hide anything, but they would definitely let you know. And then when you're playing good, they'll let you know you're playing good too. So that's why I thank those fans, and I'm a Friar forever for that.
Okay, so kind of going off that answer. So what was like you think your toughest game of the year, like playing? Mm-hmm. What team do you think was the toughest to face against? And what was like your favorite matchup? Because there's tons of great players in the Big East. You had Miles Powell, Marcus Howard, Premier Baldwin. So give us your favorite team or hardest team to play against, and what was like the hardest matchup?
I think the hardest team to play against is probably I would say, to be honest, it's either between St. John's or Marquette at home.
Interesting.
Yeah, I say St. John's because they're a pretty rough team. They don't let you – basically, they could be down by 40 points. They will never go away, man. They scrap you to the end. And then once you go in that small gym on their campus, I don't know what the gym is called, but it's like a small high school gym, man. It's hard to play in that gym. And when they get their fans involved, they just go on a run, it's hard to beat those guys in that gym. And then as for Marquette, I mean, that's Marquette. You know, they fans are crazy. You know, they introductions are crazy. They got the fire going right on back of our necks. It's like,
oh jeez.
Man, it's crazy, man. But like those two teams, yeah. And my favorite matchup of the year was, I would have to say, probably Marcus Howard. Yeah, Marcus Howard. Just because he's a baller, man. Like it's no other words to describe that man, but he's a baller. And just playing against that type of competition, that level of competition. Coming from the A10, it was a joy. So I had fun doing that, and big props to him.
Awesome. So Of course, this year, you guys had several ups and downs, and of course, you guys had an incredibly, historic, strong finish. You guys beat some really good teams, including, Villanova, Marquette, Seton Hall, and Xavier. So, it was great for us to really witness that. It was absolutely electric in Firetown after you guys beat Villanova. That was a hell of a day, to say the least. But so I'm just curious, what exactly changed, if anything changed, either on the court or in the locker room, that really motivated you guys to make that historic and strong finish?
I just think everybody settled down and just bought into their role. Everybody started playing their role to a point where that we were so comfortable and having so much fun that nothing else mattered. In practice, in the locker rooms, at dinners, wherever it was at, we still had so much fun. We was having fun, and we was a unit. We was together, and then we just took it to the court, man. Like, we didn't let anything bother us after that. After a few games in a row, we won. We just locked in. We was totally locked in. We was bought into everything Coach was saying. We was bought into each other, and we just took advantage of that, man. And we put our foot on the gas and didn't stop.
Love to hear it. That's awesome.
Also, kind of just a little bit of follow-up question off that answer. So, you were one of the hottest teams. Providence was one of the hottest teams in the country. Did you, listen to the noise? Because, ESPN, Fox Sports 1, CBS Sports were just going on and on about how good the Friars were, how they were going to make a deep tournament run. So, did you, how do you block off that noise that you don't let it get into your head that we still have to there's still, 3-4 games left. We got to finish our job. The job is not done.
We just stay focused, man. I mean, we read it, we listened to it, we seen it, but none of that stuff mattered because in the beginning of the year, no one was really rocking with us. No one really liked the Friars. Everybody thought the Friars was going to have a bad season, or was going to be a bust year for us. But like I said, once we settled down and locked in, nobody could say anything. Nobody could come between us. And all of that, the media and ESPN, all that stuff, it really didn't matter to us because we knew we had something to prove. We knew we had a great squad. And we just had to keep proving it. And if this Corona thing that happened, I believe we would have really proved who he was,
Yeah, so
great attitude.
Kind of going off that Corona thing. Like we said, we were one of the hottest teams in the country. So what attitude did yourself and your team have when you became aware that you were not going to be able to compete in the Big East tournament and eventually the NCAA tournament when the COVID-19 pandemic?
I think, to be honest, every player on the team cried that day. Because we was on the bus about to go to the game, and everybody was listening to ESPN, watching ESPN on their phones, just tracking the situation. And as you know, probably, the Big East was the last conference to cancel the tournament, the conference tournament or whatever. And once we got the news, once the coach came on the bus and said, all right, everyone off the bus, we knew then and there that our season just came to an end. And after that, I feel like I know I cried multiple times that day, just knowing what could have been. So yeah, that was the feeling I had, and I believe that's the feeling my teammates had too. Even the freshmen, even Tommy. Tommy just a walk on, but I feel like Tommy cried that day too. So that was just our emotions coming out of basically all in one.
Thanks so much for sharing that with us. Must be tough to relive it, kind of, but really, you guys have clearly had a great attitude throughout the entire season, and really, embrace that, Friar family. As they say, which, is really great to hear, especially from you being one of the top players in the team this year. Yeah. So definitely another question that I really have to ask. Ed Cooley, one of the most energetic and personable coaches throughout, the entirety of college basketball. What was it like playing under Ed Cooley?
Oh man, Ed Cooley, man, he was a piece of work. But he's a great dude, man. He'll let you know if you're doing wrong. He'll let you know if you're doing right. He stays on you, and he presses your buttons just to get the best out of you. He doesn't let you go through practice just walking through. Every day in practice is always it's a struggle, it's a grind, it's a fight. Everything is all about competing and having the right attitude, and that's what he did. He brought the best out of us, especially out of me too. He didn't let me go through practice not one day without hearing him say something about me. I don't care what it was. He said something to me every day, made me push harder, and just to make me be who I am. And I really appreciate him for that.
That's awesome. Now I got to ask you: did you clearly have have had a great experience in Firetown? Did you expect that when you signed on?
To be honest, not really. I knew I was at like a bigger Division I, and I figured that because once I played at Providence, I know the fans was crazy and gym was crazy, but like as Firetown as a whole, like the campus, the people, you know, the bars, you know, stuff like that. But everything was just, man, I fell in love with that place, man, as soon as I got there in the summertime. This was in the summertime, man. And as school went on throughout the year, I just kept falling in love. There was always something to do, good food to eat, great people around you, man. And everyone was just behind you, you know. There was some people who was obviously hating once we had a bad start out, but there was ones who stayed down with us through those times and stayed with us when we started winning too. So just the people period, man, just the place period was different for me, and I enjoyed that place so much. I'm telling you, I'm coming back for sure for some games, probably for some parties too. But
hey, there we go.
That's another story. But yeah, so just that place in whole, man. I really love that place for sure.
That's awesome. People are gonna love hearing that when this video goes out. So thank you.
Yeah, this is kind of a question going off kind of like your playing style. So I've heard around just some people talking about that you're kind of a trash talker when you play your games. Is that true? Like, and what are some of the things?
It comes with the game, man. It comes with the game. You know, you got to talk some trash. If you ain't talking trash, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. But me personally, that's where I'm from, man. I'm from Chicago, and whatever gym you go into is going to be trash talk, almost a fist fight. So you got to be able to bring it. You know, I'm going to talk trash to you. So you got to be able to handle it, tone me out, do something. But you're definitely going to hear me.
That's awesome. Got to make a statement.
Man, for real.
That's awesome, man. And like you just said, you're from Chicago. I know. Do you have any like idols in Chicago? Because I know everybody knows Michael Jordan, Chicago Bulls.
Yeah, a lot of idols, man. You got Derrick Rose, Will Bynum, Jerome Randall, and these all are guards. I mean, I'm a big guard fan from Chicago, so those are the guards. And then Jabari Parker and Jahlil Okafor, those two guys. I played against Jabari, and it was like unreal. He was really ready for the NBA in high school, you know, him and Jahlil Okafor. So, but I never got the chance to play against Jahlil though. But in high school, he was just dominant. Like he was unstoppable in high school. Nobody could really stop him. And just watching those guys growing up, talking to them, learning from them, getting all the information I could from them, it was great. So those two guys are definitely my idols.
Yeah, I grew up as I'm actually a Chicago Bulls fan because I grew up watching Derrick Rose. I fell in love with him. He's probably the most athletic point guard of all time, in my opinion, before all the injuries. So, yeah, a lot of great players from Chicago. So, kind of basically the final question we got here. So, we have to talk about this in this interview. The Villanova game at the Wells Fargo Center, which is where Philadelphia 76ers play, which is an NBA arena. So, you had a great role in that game. You finished with 27 points. And you also hit the shot that kind of made Conor Gillespie kind of fall. He fell. He fell. Yeah, he fell. So take us into that game and take us into that shot you hit over him with about a minute and a half left, up by 2, kind of to seal the game.
I think every game. What game did we? I forgot what game we started. Started our win streak, but every game going into those games was like a win and go home for us. Like we took those games like it was like the conference tournament or the NCAA tournament because we knew we had to win out to enter into the NCAA tournament. So just going into that game, man, our mindset was crazy. We was locked in practice, film, scouting team. We were so locked in going into that game. And once the game started, I feel like everybody was so locked in that the fans didn't matter. Like they have a great fan base too. But it didn't matter once we got locked in. And we came out and showed that everyone was into the game, energetic, played our roles. And before we knew it, we was up 10 almost the whole game. And we just had to maintain that lead because we know that Villanova is a great team. They can always come back at any time with their shooting strength. So we just had to take that away from them, and then we did that. But as the last play, the crossover, the spin move it was just instant, you know. He cut me off the step back, and then he cut me off the spin move, and I didn't even know he fell until I watched the game over. To be honest, I promise you, I didn't know he fell. And then once the shot went in, I mean, like, man, I felt so good just to be in that spotlight, just to put on one for my team, and just to get the win. You know, the win was the most important thing of all. Just to get that win over Villanova it was really big for us.
Yeah, Eddie and I were both watching that in our dorms together, and when you hit that shot, you went bananas. That shot was awesome. You basically threw out that whole game. That was a great game to watch. That was a great end to the season to watch for all of us.
Yeah, I'll remember that shot for the rest of my life. That was absolutely crazy.
Man, I watched the game. My dad had the game recorded on TV, so I watched that so much. Yeah, I watched it so much.
That's great. But so that's all we have for questions. It's been such a huge pleasure having you. Me and Peter have, so far loved to hear what you've been saying so far. And of course, this is going to go out on YouTube, and so many, Providence College alumni, so many Providence College students are going to get to listen to this. And I think everybody is really going to, take in what you have to say. So many Providence College students this year, we're watching you at the Dunkin' Donuts Center, we're watching you on TV, and you've really become, a symbol at Providence College, and especially that shot really sealed the deal. So that was great. But now, is there anything that you have to say, any questions or just any statements to us or, to all of our viewers who are mostly, Providence College students? Do you have anything to say to them?
Man, all I have to say, man, is thank you, Firetown, man, for accepting me for who I am, for having my back through the thick and thin, and just stand down, I appreciate y'all so much. Fryer forever,
Love to hear it. Love to hear it. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
For sure, man. Appreciate y'all for having me, man.
Thank you, man. So this is the Talking Sports Podcast, episode number 8, and I'm Peter DiBiasi alongside Eddie Amadeo with Luwane Pipkins. Thank you.